Some NBA players are great guys and super kind, but then there are some players who are just plain jerks. Today we're going to look at 5 of the nicest players and 5 of the meanest players in all of NBA history. Starting us off, we have one of the nicest players in the NBA, Steph Curry. Now Steph is universally known as one of the most popular and kindest people in the NBA, and this is true. You see, Steph has so many stories about him being a nice guy. He's always nice to the fans and especially kids, but it's hard not to be with parents like his. After one game in 2018, he swore and said after the game, "This is my house," to which his mother responded by telling him to wash his mouth out. In addition to that though, he's also an extremely loyal guy. He stayed with the Warriors for an incredibly long time and also stays true to his wife, even if she doesn't do the same for him. In contrast to him though, one of the meanest players to ever play in the NBA was Wilt Chamberlain. Now Wilt was known for being an absolute jerk. I mean, what can you expect from the guy who scored 100 points and slept with 20,000 women? Wilt also reportedly had many clashes with coaches and teammates throughout his career, which we can't confirm if they are true. But one story we can confirm was told by Kareem, and it really stuck out.
Some of the things that Wilt did, sometimes it bothered me. I got on an elevator with Wilt, and as the elevator's going down, some guy gets on and says, "Oh, wow, how's the weather up there?" He said that to Wilt. Wilt spat on the dude and said, "It's raining." And I was like, oh my God, what is all of this about?
Now whilst that is funny, it's still incredibly rude. However, a different NBA player who is known for being incredibly nice is Shaquille O'Neal. I know that you wouldn't think it, but the big guy is actually a huge softie. Because when it comes to Shaq, there are so many nice stories. But some of our favorites include the story about why he makes his shoes so cheap.
I had a Reebok deal, 40 for 5. I'm leaving the arena one day and this lady she's ripping me a new hat. "You motherfuckers, charging these babies all this money for the shoes." So I had like a 2,000 in my pocket. I was like, "Ma'am, I don't make the prices. Here you go." And she smacked the money in my hand. "Why don't you motherfuckers make a shoe that's affordable?" And I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? She's right. So that day, cut ties with Reebok, and I went to my favorite store, Walmart, and we did a deal.
And good for him, because he has now sold over 200 million pairs of Shaq shoes for as low as $12. He also loves to share around his money with strangers and has been quoted saying that whenever he goes to Walmart, he always has to buy something for someone else. In fact, the only people who he isn't incredibly nice to are his own kids. He even said that he isn't giving them any money until they get 2 degrees. Harsh.
Well, my most famous rule is, in order to touch any of my cheese, you have to present me 2 degrees.
The same thing cannot be said about Kevin Garnet though, because he has had so many stories about how mean he was. One of these include Joakim Noah. Now growing up, Noah idolized Garnet, and he even had his poster on his wall. But when Noah told him that he was his favorite player, Kevin told him, "F you." However, this isn't even the worst, because he also told Carmelo Anthony that his wife tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios. This started a huge beef between the two.
Never ever in my life disrespected a man or his family or his wife or his mom or none of that. I have never in my life.
However, the story that we think was the meanest from him was with Tim Duncan. You see, Duncan unfortunately lost his mother the day before his 14th birthday in 1990. However, on Mother's Day in 1999, Garnet and Duncan were playing each other, and Garnet said, "Happy Mother's Day, mother d***er." What an absolute asshole. One NBA player who isn't so mean though is Manute Bol. Although Bol wasn't in the spotlight much during his career, he was an incredibly nice guy. This absolute freak of nature had a crazy upbringing. He even paid 80 cows to buy his wife. Now that is wild. But during his time in the NBA, he did so many nice deeds. He said that he spent almost all of his money from the NBA on charities in Sudan.
It's really dry back there, and a lot of people are dying right now because hungry and no water, no food. And so what I try to do, I've been doing, send some money to my people and help them out, because I love my country and I want to help my people.
Even though he donated so much from his $7 million in NBA earnings, he still wished that he could give his country more. "I love to help," he said in one interview, "but my money is not enough. Food is very expensive. Sometimes, even if you have money for food, you cannot buy it." The Red Cross will give them some food and blankets, but it is not enough. My people just sit there. There are no jobs. So sad to have such a pure soul die at such a young age. Next on our list, however, we have another NBA player who is known for being a meanie, Blake Griffin. He has had many stories about how mean he is, including when he punched a team employee. However, this didn't end well for him as he ended up breaking his own hand and missing 6 weeks of basketball. He then said, "I am truly sorry. What happened in Toronto was 100% my fault. I messed up, but this doesn't make up for it."
I just want to say, I've had a lot of time to reflect and still, I'm very truly sorry for what happened.
He also reportedly left his ex-fiancée and their 2 kids just to be with Kendall Jenner. I mean, she is Kendall Jenner, but you can't just abandon people like that. His ex, Bryn Cameron, even sued him for this. But this isn't the only story like this, because he also had a similar one with Lana Rhoades. Yes, that Lana Rhoades.
It's so big.
You see, Lana Rhoades had a kid with an NBA player, but she wouldn't say who.
I did have FDA DNA in me for 8 months.
However, after seeing the baby, it is clear whose it is. But apparently, Blake Griffin didn't want anything to do with them and abandoned the kid once again.
So, don't have kids with NBA players. That's another one.
The guy who invited me also invited one of the other girls. And so this is not the first time that this has happened to me, where I've been invited on a date or like to hang out, and they also invite like a backup.
Man, he sounds like a terrible guy, but these are just rumors and could turn out to be untrue. On the flip side though, a player who is really nice is Steven Adams, the big Kiwi. No, everyone knows that Adams is probably the strongest player in the league, but he is also a huge softie and nice guy. He shows this so often, like when he taught a fan how to use his manners.
James, please sign my hat.
No.
What?
What is that?
Please? Thank you.
There you go, mate.
Or when he saved Mason Plumlee from a crazy injury instead of scoring.
It's a glass.
Adams, Plumlee goes over the top. And Adams making sure he's okay. That's 5 on Mason Plumlee.
What possibly could happen. You look at him right here. He tries to hold him up.
He's also not one to fight, even though he would destroy nearly any player in one. We saw this when he legit picked up Tony Bradley just to save his point guard. And he is not a light person to pick up either.
No, I asked them to release my point guard, and he wasn't releasing my point guard. So I was, I told him, I'm going to have to take you away now, mate. And then off he went, yeah. Trying to defuse the situation.
These clips show just why he is so loved within the NBA community. But another NBA player who we shouldn't have to say much about is Ron Artest. He was one of the meanest ever. The most iconic example of this is Malice at the Palace. You see, during this incident, Ron ended up punching 2 separate fans in the face.
Fans, again, we cannot drive this home enough. This is something, you go across the board of the 4 of us here, we've been around a lot of sporting events, all right? Either playing in them or watching them. This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Although they were trying to wind him up, and Ron was definitely not one to back down from a fight. This gave him the longest NBA suspension ever, coming in at a crazy 86 games. That is longer than an entire season, which is only 82 games. This ain't the only story though, because we also have this time where he elbowed James Harden to the head.
Oh no, let's take a peek. Oh, that's disgraceful. That's not only ejection, that's going to be a suspension and should be.
What an insanely mean move. Now getting to our last couple of players, we have one incredibly nice player off the court, who many people consider to be the GOAT, LeBron James. LeBron has done countless nice deeds over the years, including opening the I Promise school in Ohio, even if most of the students are failing. One user on the internet stated, "From what I have heard, he is a very nice and funny guy. He can be the center of attention without being cocky or looking down on others, so, from my understanding, he seems to be a truly genuine person and is definitely someone I want to meet." We think this sums him up so well. He also has so many nice acts of kindness, including these clips here.
Season ticket holders, and LeBron went over there to make sure he was okay.
Yeah, I tell you what, 265 pounds hitting that little kid, but I'm glad to see LeBron taking the time to go over there, because that made his day.
Intermission here in Boston, where they often honor a hero of the game. Many times it's a police officer or perhaps a member of the firefighting units. But
LeBron signing shoes, 2 pairs, going up with a couple of young fans. And I mean, what a moment. What a moment, Stu.
1 pair.
Oh, 1 pair.
However, the other player who is considered the GOAT a lot may just be the meanest player in NBA history, Michael Jordan. Now Jordan has too many stories to count, so we'll just go through a few. Muggsy Bogues is one of the most inspiring players in all of the NBA, but MJ didn't care about this because in one game when he was marking him, he said, "Shoot it, you d***ing midget." Now that is just plain mean, but Muggsy believed that one play ruined his career because his shot never recovered after that. Another story is when Jordan invited Charles Barkley to play golf whilst they were playing against each other in the NBA Finals. MJ then bought Charles a $20,000 earring just so he would be nice to him in the finals. However, when asked about it, he stated, "I hate that fat d***." Crazy. But the meanest MJ story actually happened off the court. Apparently, one day MJ was invited to play cards with an old lady. Sounds nice that he showed up, doesn't it? Well, when she went to the toilet, Jordan got caught cheating just so he could beat her. Now that is mean. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to see more bangers like this one. Peace.